So this is the data set we're going to be working with tonight. Let me go ahead and clear this out. Very simple data set. I have not injected any data quality problems within this data set. So it should be pretty straightforward. When I did a test run with this in Google Sheets and Tableau, they're not playing too nicely together. So if things start breaking, I have a backup plan for how we'll get this data in. But in what we've been working with throughout this class is we've been working with flat files. So an Excel export, and we dump it into Tableau, and there we go. Well, tonight we're going to be working with this. You could think of this as just like a really wonky database. It's just one table within a database. But what's interesting about this is we have profile information around a bunch of different companies that have gone public in the last 3 years. So let's go ahead and do one that I can pronounce. Frequency Therapeutics. This is row 3. If you haven't already, please go to File, Make a Copy, and that will be your copy. Don't mess with this master copy because it'll screw things up for everybody. So Frequency Therapeutics is the company name. That's what column A represents. Column B represents the ticker symbol. What is this ticker symbol?
It's the symbol that you see like in the stock market that traders basically use to abbreviate companies to make it easier to like trade.
Yeah, so a more succinct explanation of that is the ticker symbol is simply a unique identifier. So you can have multiple companies that have the same name, but you'll only have one public company with a specific ticker symbol. We've experienced this in some of the data sets that we've worked with, and you experience something similar to this in real life. So like anytime you see something, this idea of customer ID, student ID, placement ID in advertising, that's an example of a unique identifier. That's all symbol is. We'll be using this pretty heavily. When you go to buy shares in a company or an ETF, you typically will look up the, someone deleted things, not good. Yeah, please just, once you make a copy of this, just go ahead and close the master one out. Frequency. So this ticker symbol is what you enter into your brokerage account when you want to buy or sell shares in a company, ETF, or fund. Industry. This is a dimensional cut of data that represents which sector or industry this company plays in. Offer date. This is just the date that a company IPO'd. So when that's what the O stands for in IPO, initial public offering. So offer date is just when in time did they go public. Now, this next column, shares in the millions, this represents when you go public, you offer a certain number of shares to the public for purchase. This represents the volume of shares that were offered as a part of the IPO. And then next, someone keeps messing with the sheet. Please close out the master sheet once you make a copy. The next field here is our offer price. This is alternatively known as the float price, or the price that a company goes public at and starts trading publicly at. So an offer price of $15 represents that they went public at $15, and then we can track the performance of that IPO to date. First day close. This is our first back test formula. It's incredibly simple. All we're doing is if we bought at the end of the first day of their initial public offering and held to date, what is our ROI? Or rather, first day close is just the closing price of the first day of trading. So they went public at $15 a share. At the end of the day, they were worth $20.50. This is where we introduced the back test. Current price is basically what are they today as of the close of trading today. This is where we introduce a Google Finance formula, where we're calling Google Finance and we're telling Google Finance to look up a ticker symbol and return the price variable. That's what this formula is. B2 represents the ticker symbol, that's the unique identifier, and then it pings Google Finance and says, return the latest price for this. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to, and we're going to drag this down and populate it for everybody. Same thing for these two back tests. These last two metrics here are the ones that we're concerned with as it relates to evaluating performance. So what I want you to do is go ahead to the bottom right-hand corner of current price and just double click that bottom right-hand corner, and Google Sheets will go ahead and ping Google Finance's API and return the current price of each stock symbol. Next, I want you to go to offer price return. Here we're introducing a calculated field, just some very simple math to derive what the return on investment would be if we bought into an IPO at the first day of trading, as soon as they started trading, and held to date. So it's just a simple formula of current price minus the offer price over the offer price. Go ahead and your own copy of this Google Sheet, go ahead and do the same thing and auto-populate our formula. And for the entire data set. Now, you're going to see a couple NAs here. We're going to explore what that is in a second, but let's go ahead and finish this now and get our second variable. This is our first day close return. So if we were to wait until the end of the first day of closing to buy it and we held it to today, what would our return be? So go ahead and auto-populate that as well.
Sorry, Professor, could you repeat how you filled in like the offer price, first day close, and current price?
Offer price, current price, which column?
Columns F, G, and H, like how you filled those in.
Oh, this is an export from Capital IQ. It's a database of different capital metrics. So these fields are already populated. So this comes from a separate data source. Does that make sense? And then we're using those inputs to derive new metrics. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm just like having trouble doing like the current price one. Like I'm double clicking, but nothing's happening.
Oh, your question's about column H.
Yes.
Okay. So to auto-populate this, we have a formula in row H2. This is the formula. What I want you to do is hover in the bottom right-hand corner where you see that square and just double click on that, and it should auto-populate all the way down.
Okay, thank you.
Does that work?
Yes.
Cool. And then just do the same for these last two columns. Next question.
Yeah. How often does the current price update?
I believe it's every 15 minutes. It's not real time, but it's as close to real time as we need it to be. It's either every 15 minutes or every hour.
Okay, so do we have to refresh the page in order for the prices to update?
No, it should do it automatically once it hits that threshold.
Okay.
But trading is closed right now, so these prices won't update until tomorrow.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Cool. Go ahead and autofill for our last column, first day close return. This is going to represent our scenario where we waited to the last day of end of the first day of trading to buy, and we held till date. So now we've done what's called data enhancement, where we've taken our inputs and created new data that we didn't otherwise have. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing Google Sheets, and any questions before we move on? Because if you were lost, you are not going to be able to follow along.
I guess this is just like a check. I have like a couple rows that have error messages in H. Okay, so it's
is your error message NA?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. I pointed that out earlier. We're going to talk through that in a second.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Any other questions?
Is it possible if you can put your Google Sheet out one more time?
Yeah. see. What you need? What did you need?
Oh, I thought you filled out K and L, but then no, it's fine now. Thank you.
Cool. All right, go ahead and open up Tableau Public. And we're going to do something a little bit differently. So historically, in the preceding 3 classes, we've connected directly to a Microsoft Excel flat file. What we're going to be doing is connecting to our copy of the Google Sheet, because that will enable, since the underlying data is refreshing every 15 minutes to an hour, we want our Tableau dashboard to update also. This is very similar to what you'll do in the real world. In the real world, you're not really connecting Tableau to Excel outputs. You're connecting to a live database. So as data changes, those changes update in your Tableau dashboard. And we're introducing that type of idea here. So I want you to go ahead to the section that says connect to a server right here, and go ahead and select Google Sheets. You're going to be prompted to log into Tableau or log into your Google Sheets account. Let's see. That's not what I want. Go ahead and authenticate Google to talk to Tableau, and you should be good to go. And select your high-profile IPOs data set. And then once you are there, you should see this. Let's see if Google Sheet is playing nicely with us. And it looks like we are. Nice. I had some issues where Tableau wasn't able to read our, what is it? Calculated fields here, but it looks like it's reading it fine now. Everyone good here? Anyone have any issues?
Could you go back to that first step just one more time to pull up that Google Sheets on the Tableau?
I would, but I'm gonna have to break what I have here. So go ahead and share your screen, and I'm gonna talk you through how to do it.
Okay, give me just 1 second.
Because right now I'm working with a live connection. In order to go back, I would have to break my connection. I have to let you share for some reason because Zoom is intuitive. Go for it. Sharing? There we go. Cool. Go ahead and select more under to a server, Google Sheets. You'll be prompted in your browser to log in and select your Google account.
Okay, and essentially just follow the steps from there.
You got it. Just select the name of the Google Sheet.
I got you. I just couldn't find the Google Sheet option on there. Thank you.
Oh, you're good. No worries. Anyone else? All right, great. So we don't need to spot check this one because I did not throw any data quality issues in here, but Tableau is having problems reading our calculated fields. You can see that here because current price, offer price, and first day close return, Tableau is reading these as dimensions. These are metrics. So what we're going to want to do is go ahead and ingest our data by hitting sheet 1 down here. Go ahead and hit sheet 1. And let's do the same thing we've done with our data quality in the past. Someone's got their mic on. There we go. Cool. So go ahead, first day close return. We're going to convert this into a number, decimal, and then we're going to convert that, change our data type. or rather convert to a measure. Do the same for offer price return. I'm just checking our underlying data because this connectivity has been problematic. Go ahead and number decimal, convert to measure, offer price return, number decimal, and convert to measure. There we go. So if you want to just spot check yourself, just make sure you're mirroring what I have up here. Company, industry, offer date, and symbol should be the only fields up here on tables. If you're seeing other metrics, that means you need to convert your data type still. Everyone good? All right. Well, here is the fun part. Since this is our second to last session before Capstone, we're going to go ahead and give you a glimpse of what your Capstone next week will look like. Instead of following along with me click by click, you guys should be at a point now where you're comfortable enough navigating Tableau to where either you know how to do things and know how to build them on your own, or you can use Google to ask the right question. So what I want you to do is let's go ahead and take 30 minutes. It's 6:43 right now, so we'll come back here at 7:15. What I want you to do is go ahead and build 3 visualizations. The first one I want to see you do is show me a distribution of IPO activities by month. The by month is a very important distinction here. We want to see how many companies are going public across each month. So go ahead and build that. The second question I want to do is pick one of our back tests, first day close return or offer price return. Show me the performance at the industry level of one of those variables. So either buying at the offer price or buying at the first day close. Show me which sectors sorted descending have been performing better. And then next, I want you to incorporate a quick filter into one of those 2 views. Just go ahead and you've got a lot of different ways you can cut this data. And so what would be meaningful to cut that by? So go ahead, we're going to take 30 minutes to work on your own. If you guys want to drop and work on your own, it's totally fine. If you want to meet up in a separate Zoom with one of your buddies, that's totally fine too. Your Capstone is open book, just like life. You can work with one another, work in small groups, or work by yourself. But I just want to give you guys the opportunity to build this on your own. And then we'll come back here at 7:15, and I'm going to walk you through what I'm doing. So people are using the chat box, even though I asked them not to. If you have questions, just unmute yourself. Could you write that down, what we need to again? Wait, so is it 2 visualizations and a quick filter? You can, there you go, Ming. Thank you. You can also write it down yourself. So go ahead and work through this and build those initial cuts of information and do your best. I will stay on this Zoom to answer any questions. Preferably you will resort to me last. We're 4 weeks in. You should be pretty comfortable here by now. We're still very much in basic Tableau, and 4 weeks, if you've been practicing, you should feel pretty good by now. All right. See y'all shortly. Someone's got their mic on. You might want to turn that off before we have an unfortunate accident.
I was gonna ask real quick. I keep getting an error code anytime I click on my Google Sheets. Can I just download the file and then import it through Microsoft? I know like that.
Yeah, go ahead and share your screen with me. Let's try and diagnose the problem. And if we can't diagnose it, then yeah, you can just download a flat file.
Okay. I keep getting this error message.
Okay, error. So your OAuth server, it looks like, all right, X out of this for me. Show me how you're connecting to Google Sheets.
I just click on this.
Okay, and then you're getting prompted to authenticate.
No, it just goes straight to error.
Switch over to whatever your default browser is, and you should get a window that's trying to authenticate your Gmail account so that, or your Google account, so that Tableau can read from it. Interesting. Looks like it's not happening for you. Go ahead and select it one more time for me. Or actually, go to more. Select more.
Because it's still like loading. I don't think I can.
I can't see that it's loading.
Oh, do you see the little? Oh, I guess not. You don't see the little ball.
Yeah, I love Zoom. It's okay. What I would do you know how to save a flat file from Google Sheets?
Yes.
Yeah, just go ahead and do that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and then just pipe the Excel file straight in. There it is. Now your error message is popping up.
Yeah, okay, I'll stop sharing now.
Cool.
I have a really quick question.
Yeah, what's going on?
So every time I try to like click on everything, it's just like making a little noise and isn't letting me click on anything.
Can you share your screen?
Yeah. If it lets me, hold on. Oh, there we go. Like every time I click on something, it's just making like a little doop noise.
That's you probably have something open that's causing that. That's not native. Oh, go to data source. I think I see what you have.
Data source. It doesn't even let me open that.
Okay. It looks like you have two redundant copies of the data set. If you look on the top left corner where it says data, you have sheet one and then sheet one. Looks like you dropped this in twice. The one that has a blue check mark, go ahead and leave that one selected. Right click on the one beneath it for me.
It doesn't let me do that either.
Interesting. Go ahead and just check your browsers. Yeah, check your browsers or alt tab. You may have Tableau trying to communicate with what's it called? Google Sheet.
Okay. Oh wait. Okay, and then close this, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yep, no worries. I'm gonna run and grab something to snack on real quick. I'll be back in less than 5. Looks like we've got everybody back. Apologies. I had Chick-fil-A delivered about 2 hours ago, and that was the fastest I've ever eaten a Chick-fil-A sandwich before in my life. Let's see. Anyone have any issues? Could I get a brave volunteer to share what you put together?
I'm happy to.
Let's do
You
both.
got it. It's okay.
Let's do both of you. We'll do both of you. Go ahead and share your screen.
Okay.
Y'all are brave, strong.
I'll go first. So I didn't make a dashboard. I just did the 2 sheets.
Yeah, that's totally fine. I was just working ahead.
So here's my IPO activity by month.
Great.
And I did the sliding like amount, so it could show that which months have higher numbers of IPOs. And then I have an industry filter over it. So on the right, you can adjust it based on industry.
No, this is great.
And then offer price, pretty much same thing with the colors, and pretty straightforward. I did the median because I thought it looked the best out of the options, like between median and average and henceforth.
No, you use the right one also because returns are not normally distributed. There's a general rule of Pareto efficiency where 20% of the companies in the S&P 500 are responsible for 80% of the gains of the S&P 500. So that indicates that outliers have a lot more to do with things, or how an index returns than the average. And so yeah, median is the correct function here.
And then I made a 3rd sheet just to play around with. I was just curious the median number of shares per company per the different industries.
Right.
I thought it would be very interesting to see, like, oil and gas has so many more shares, probably because they start off at lower values for their IPOs.
No,
They
this is
offer more
fantastic. Yeah, I didn't. I've been teaching this data set for probably 2 years, and we've never explored this. And yeah, this is great. Yeah, the number of shares offered in an IPO are also indicative of the liquidity of an IPO. So if more shares are offered, each share has the capacity to impact the price less. So that has implications when it comes to like cornering a market or bid-ask spreads when you're looking at liquidity. So like if you buy a share, how quickly can you sell it and get as close to approximately what you paid versus losing in transaction costs? That's something called slippage. So no, this is great. This is a great index, or rather indicator of the liquidity of different IPOs.
Cool.
Caroline, want to share yours?
Yes. Can y'all see it okay? Okay. Okay, so I don't know if I'm interpreting this correctly, but how I kind of built this was the month of the offer date, and then the count of companies. So like, I don't know if this is right, but such as in May, there was like 24 companies that had IPOs. And then you can filter it by the industry. So all the different industries over the months.
No, this is great.
And then I also did returns on offer price by industry. And then I put the median current price over the color filter to show, like, this is kind of how I thought about it. But so technology has like the greatest return, and their current price is one of the highest, which I guess kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
And then I also made this, which is the top 10 current prices for, or like the top 10 companies with the
Highest
like,
share price.
yes, and then by industry.
This is awesome. Good work.
Dana helped.
I can great job, Dana and Caroline. So this is great. So both of you are showing me that like you're thinking that's like the purpose of this class, not to follow a recipe book that's just following what I click on. You guys are thinking outside of the box here by looking at different ways you can cut data up. And quite frankly, in the 2 years I've been teaching this data set, I've actually never had anyone look at the data this way. So great job. One thing I do want to go back to is IPO activities per month. This is something I was hoping someone would do. What you did here is not wrong. It's just a little bit from a data visualization perspective, it's not as quite as effective. So if you go back to like class 1, when we were talking about distributions, what you're showing here is a time series that shows how things are trending over time. One thing what do you see on the x-axis towards the right? If you hover over the line, one company, and then go to January and September, it's one company.
They're all one.
Yeah, exactly. So let's go ahead and, while you're sharing, go ahead and create a new worksheet for me.
Okay. Sorry, it's kind of hard with like the Zoom gallery on the screen.
Yep. You are living my pain right now. All right. So do me a favor, bring offer data in. So, and then also bring in count of symbol or count of company. Yeah, there you go. And then just change the function to count. Okay. And then change it to a pivot table in the show me filter or show me palette. If you get top right where it says show me.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go. Change it to a pivot table in the top left corner. There you go. So this shows us that in this data set, we have 101 companies that went public in 2019. We have one company that went public in 2020 and another company that went public in 2021. That's not indicative of IPO activity as a whole at those yearly levels. That's just indicative of the IPOs within this data set. There were many different companies that went public in 2020 and 2021. This data set just doesn't reflect that. So it doesn't really, in the case of this data set, because A, our data is limited as we're seeing here, and then B, because we want to see a distribution, using a trend line in this case doesn't actually make a lot of sense. So because it's misleading, largely because of the underlying data. So this is an instance where we want to be looking at discrete versus continuous. That's why we're looking at the distribution. Does that make sense?
Yes. So how should I change it?
Yeah. All right. So let's go to IPO activities by month and go ahead. There's a quick way we can do it, just largely because this is an aggregated data set. Go ahead and just switch it to a bar chart.
Okay.
And yeah, so right here, we can see 2019 monthly, but then we start rolling over the calendar year and we hit August and then we jump to April. That's because this goes into the two different types of ways Tableau can treat time. Right now, we're looking at continuous time. This is an instance where we want to look at discrete time. So if you go to the month pillbox on your row shelf and go, yeah, there you go, use that one right there. That will give you a snapshot. So instead of looking at February 2019, February 2020, February 2021, we're bucketing everything into cohorts by which month they went public in. So February, March, April, respective of the year. Does that make sense? Yes. Yeah. No, that's fantastic. I'm actually glad that you visualized it as a trend line so we could discuss this. There's one other thing that I had for this particular cut, but it's escaping me. It's okay. You can unshare your screen. You're off the hot seat. Great work. I can tell both of you have been practicing. Let's see. So let me go ahead and share my screen again. So those are really novel ways of approaching data beyond just the simple charts that I showed you or asked you guys to build. Let's go, actually, let me go back to, so I did a close return, first day close return instead of offer price return. That's totally fine. IPO activity by month. Does everyone understand why we use discrete time instead of continuous time? Any questions on that? All right, sounds good.
Sorry, I do have a question.
Yeah, for sure.
For company, should that one be, I mean, mine says it's continuous right now.
Mhm.
Should it also be discrete or?
You share your screen with me?
Oh God, yeah.
You'll be all right, don't worry.
Yes.
When we were doing remote classes during I think it was winter 2020, my MBA students every cohort did something embarrassing over Zoom.
Yeah, I'm about to be part of that.
No, you're good. Let me take a look at what you're doing. So you're doing count distinctive company. That's good. So that makes sense because you can have multiple companies with the same name. So count distinct treats it as each incremental company. In this data set, there's no duplicative company name, so that you're all right here. But what was your question on continuous?
Well, I just noticed here that it's continuous here. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine. That has to do more with how we treat time. There are instances where you would want to use discrete when we're running a function, but that's getting more into intermediate Tableau.
Okay. And then I noticed that I don't know why it's like why these
interesting
are doing that.
go to, maybe that actually might be why. There may actually be a duplicative company. Go ahead and change that to a discrete count. No. Okay, go ahead and undo that. I see. What do you have on your color shelf right here? You have month, I think, on your color shelf.
Yes.
Go ahead and remove that. I think that's what's doing it. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. If you redo that, actually, I know what that was. So we remember we have one company in 2020 and one in 2022. Mm-hmm. That's what those two darker blocks are. That's a count of each company by year. Yeah. So just go ahead and take that off and you'll be good.
Okay. Yeah. I will fix that. Thank you.
Good job. All right, cool. Let's see.
Wait, Carl, I have a quick question.
Yeah, what's going on?
So on my bar chart that I showed at the end, I went from October 2019 to August 2020. So I just had I had it continuous, but just added on at the end. Is that okay?
Gotcha. Go ahead and share your screen one more time. Just let me refresh make sure I'm thinking of it right before I tell you the wrong thing. I see. Gotcha. So you are using continuous time in this case. So in this case, it could be either or. Like there are instances where you would want to look at a distribution continuously. In this case, since it's such a truncated data set, it doesn't make a ton of sense to do it. Now, if we had where this gets us, if we're starting to look at this through a discrete timestamp, is it enables us to cohort things. Do you guys know what cohorting means? You definitely do because you used them in UT.
Yeah, I probably just don't.
Yeah, no worries. So cohorting is a method of looking at data that's very common in the SaaS or software as a service industry. Also, it's very similar with any type of subscription monetization model where they look at folks in a cohorted basis. So on a time continuum from an FP&A perspective, folks who joined and subscribed in April 2019, they are now the April 2019 cohort. And you want to analyze that user behavior specific to that cohort. The way that translates to UT is like churn. Actually, it's the same metric across UT and subscription services. So of the students in the fall 2021 cohort, how many students actually matriculate and graduate? versus how many churn out. It's the same when you think of it from like a subscription service perspective. You're able to kind of create that baseline by developing discrete cohorts. That's why we would want to use discrete here.
Gotcha. Cool. Thank you.
Now, if we were looking at IPO activity year over year across, let's say, the entire history of the S&P 500, that is something that we would want to use continuous with, because IPO activity is a really good economic indicator for how healthy an economy is. If you're seeing lots of IPO activity, that generally means that an economy is doing quite well. And if we had a much larger data set that spanned decades or even 1 decade, it would be interesting to see how IPO activity fluctuated throughout different financial crises, different recessions, different regulatory environments and things of that nature. So that those are just 2 different nuances there. Does that make sense to everybody? All right, cool. Let me go ahead and share my screen again. If anyone has any other questions, just chime in. So did everyone more or less come to land on the same basic visualization here as these 2, monthly IPO activity by month and distribution of returns? Did anyone not build this way?
Did you go over the distribution of returns?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just going to go ahead and create it all over again. So what we're looking at is distribution of returns by industry. So I bring in industry, and I'm building off of the first day close return. You could just use the offer price return, whichever one you want to back test. You just want to make sure whichever one you choose, make sure you're staying consistent across your visualization. So I'm going to go ahead and do first day close return. I want to take a look at the median. I'm not sure. Yeah, there we go. So these are the median first day close return prices across percent returns across each industry. And then I'm going to change the formatting here by going here, and I'm going to go to percentage, 1 decimal place. And then we're going to sort descending, and I'm going to change this to a bar chart. Now, some of you left this oriented horizontally. I'm going to go ahead and sort descending and swap my axes. I like this vertically oriented. It's personal preference, quite frankly. If for your distribution or rather monthly IPO activity, if you're going horizontally here, it can help to switch your other one to a vertically oriented bar chart. But quite frankly, it's just personal preference. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change my axis formatting by right-clicking on the axis and going to edit or format. And I'm going to change this to percentage 1 decimal place because that's the same formatting we're using there. And to get your color gradient, which is generally a good thing to do, and when we're talking about money or ROI or performance, the color palette you're going to want to use is typically green, red diverging. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the metric first day close return. I'm going to drop that on the color tile, and I'm going to change that function to median instead of sum. And then I want to change our color palette by selecting color, edit color, select palette, and then red, green diverging here. Now, when we do this and apply it, you can see that it's indexed to the scale of the data set. It's not indexed to the scale of the color spectrum. So if you see here on the left, negative values are a much darker red and positive values are much darker green. We see that on the positive side, but we don't see that on the negative side. So if we want to use the full spectrum of color for our data set, we're just going to select use full color range and hit OK. And we'll get a much darker red here. In addition, if you want to go ahead and label your axes, this is kind of redundant in my opinion. So I'm not going to do it on this one, but you can basically do the same thing here that we did to color by median first day close return and just drop it on label, change our function to median, and let's change our Our formatting's already changed. And now we have each bar labeled. I think that's a little bit redundant, largely because when we hover, it gives it to us, but some places like to have things labeled. I'm not going to do it on this one because I did do it on monthly activity, IPO activity by month. So really, like a lot of things, it's just personal preference. Any questions?
I have a question really quick.
Yes, ma'am.
So I used the offer price return, but whenever I dropped like the colors, it just did not look like that.
Okay, share your screen with me.
Okay.
I'm gonna hang on a second. I'm gonna turn the lights on because it's starting to look like I'm in somebody's basement right now. Much better. All right, let's take a look. Ooh, interesting. Median. All right, you got median. All right. Go ahead and select the color tile for me. Edit colors. Red, green, diverging, useful color range. Okay, something is going on with your underlying data. Do me a favor, close out of this real quick. Go to data source in the left-hand corner. Ooh, something just did something weird on my end. Scroll to the far right. Let me just double check your calculated fields. Those are reading appropriately. Okay, let's go back to the worksheet. Okay. Select, go back to the color tile one sec.
I think it's because you have current price as the color tile.
Oh yeah, good eye.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
There you go. Cool. I will be honest, out of all the classes I'm teaching this semester, you guys are very much clearly practicing the most. I taught this session to the graduate students last week, and it was not this seamless. All right, cool. Any other questions I can help troubleshoot? Because we're going to build a couple more things.
I have a question.
Yeah, what's going on?
So I made one that's like a plot of the median first day close return versus median shares.
Okay.
And whenever I add a trend line to it, it's flat. Is that normal?
It could be. Let's take a look. Okay.
So
That looks
yeah,
right.
Did that. It just goes straight across.
Gotcha. If you hover over that, it'll give us the correlation coefficient. Do me a favor, undo what you just did and right click in the white. This is how I usually put a trend line. I just want to see if it's doing the same thing or if it's calculating it differently. Go to show trend line. Hover over that. Yeah, okay, it's doing the same thing. Yeah, this looks fine to me. Median first, you do have a filter on median first day close though. Is there a reason you're doing that?
No, I don't know.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and take that off. Cool. Yeah, all this indicates is the relationship spurious between those two variables.
Okay, cool.
Now that does change. Correlations can change though. So like, what for my finance majors in here, what is traditionally thought of as a safe haven asset?
Gold.
Gold, precious metals, things like that, commodities. Now, in periods of extreme volatility, I was focused more on volatility trading when I was in finance. And in periods of extreme volatility, what tends to happen to asset classes in the short term? Everything becomes correlated. Why? Because when you see extreme downward volatility, this is something we saw in March 2020 with the sell-off that we had at the beginning of COVID. When things start getting dicey, a lot of people try to get out of assets and get into cash, depending on what is pushing something, pushing a volatile environment. So what we saw this play out in March 2020, where the precious metals market collapsed. Silver and gold both took a nosedive because everything became correlated. Everyone wants to get out of assets and into cash because the safety of cash in the short term presents buying opportunities if things continue going downhill. So that's why it's important to understand that what's correlated today can change later on. It just is a general rule. People tend to look at things in the long-term trajectory versus what may be true in a snapshot of time, 1 week to a quarter out. We saw the precious metals market stabilize shortly after, and traditional correlations returned, and that's what saw the rise of the precious metals market in around summer 2020 after it rebounded. So that's why I built this guy right here. If some of you followed along with this, the correlation here is very spurious, but that can change over time. Why would median shares being offered? Why could it potentially be correlated to the performance of an IPO? This is a very simple supply-demand chart. That's another way of looking at this. Fewer shares available for purchase if demand is high should theoretically push the price of a equity higher, which in turn increases the performance here in this case. So this chart will change over time if you're connected to Google Sheets. So today's sell-off that we saw in the markets today, the snapshot yesterday looks very different from where we were today as it relates to correlations. So let's go ahead and build this if you haven't already. Go ahead and create a new worksheet. Whichever calculated field you use to develop your back test, whether it's first day close return or offer price return, go ahead and bring whichever one you used in. And we're going to change our function to median because returns are not normally distributed. And then we're going to also bring in our shares at the offer. So now we have our independent variable being shares on the x-axis, and we have our dependent variable on the y-axis. Now we need to disaggregate this. So to do that, I'm going to take our symbol and I'm going to drop it on the detail tile right here. And that's going to disaggregate our scatter plot. And then I'm going to change our shape to a filled circle. And I'm also going to reduce our opacity to about 75%. And then what I want to do is I want to color by the same function that we're using here. I want to take first day close return because that's the one I'm using. And I'm dropping that on the color tile. And I'm also going to change the function here. In addition, I'm going to change our color palette to the same one we're using earlier to red, green, diverging. So that way, the ones that are operating at a loss will be able to see. All right, let me apply the full spectrum. There we go. Can increase the size a little bit and just eyeball it. It's all good. And now we can see there's certain outliers here where fewer shares were offered and they have a higher outstanding return. So MWK, that's the ticker symbol, has returned 1,400%. And that's one other thing we can do to change the formatting of our axis to be denoted in percentages. But yeah, a little over 1,400%. Everyone got that?
Should it be sum of the shares or the median of the shares?
Oh, good call, good catch. Yeah, you're going to want to use median. Actually, it doesn't matter in this data set, but as a best practice, yes, you would want to use median. It doesn't matter in this data set because everything is aggregated at the company level. And each one of these dots represents one row of data within our data set. So the function really doesn't matter in this case for shares millions. Now, if we were aggregating at the industry level, yes, that would make sense.
How do you change how do you change the axis to percentages again?
Yeah, you're just going to right click on the y-axis or whichever axis you want to edit and go to format.
Okay.
And then
Perfect. Thank you.
You got it. Someone else have a question?
It was the same question.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, Tableau formatting is always painful. Now, if we look down here at the bottom right, we see we have 6 null values. As some of you pointed out, we have offer price return. We have null values here. Why do we have null values here? What would cause that? Any idea?
The stock got delisted.
That is one. That is so. It depends on what you mean by delisted, but yes, you were right. So
Well, they could have been bought out if they were a SPAC, or they could have been like merged or delisted.
Exactly. So when you say delisted, that usually comes with implications of regulatory violations. So I actually worked at a tech company, ComScore, and shortly after I left, I had nothing to do with it, I promise. Our accounting org got in trouble for some fraudulent accounting that they were doing, and the NASDAQ kicked ComScore out of the NASDAQ, and they were delisted for about 2-3 years. That's one example. So like delisted, that's usually meant in punitive terms. So like if they did something illegal and they take them off from being publicly traded. Now, another possibility is a company was either merged or acquired by another company. And then there's a fourth reason why we would have null values. Company went bankrupt. That's if we go back to our data set, you guys don't have to follow along here, but I just want to show you what you can do with this and enhance this even further. If you want to pull in, if you want to add to this and create a different cut of data. So for instance, if I want to pull an Apple and I want to pull an Apple, all I got to do is put in the ticker symbol and then just manually populate this stuff. So this is IPO data, so it's not super relevant to Apple. Apple's been a public company for decades. If I want to go ahead and pull the current price of Apple, all I have to do is do the same thing, where we enter the Google Finance function, we point the ticker symbol, and then we define the parameter that we want Google Finance to return. And you can create your own data set based on whatever you're interested in. It doesn't have to be IPOs. You could create a back test like this for any companies that you're interested in. All you have to do is just make sure you're populating whatever relevant fields you're interested in. So if we were to include a company like Enron or Lehman Brothers, companies that are bankrupt now, we would also probably have some null values there because they don't exist anymore. So that explains the null values. So how we want to treat this is when we select 6 null values, let's go ahead and tell Tableau to filter those out. And that annoying little pop-up's no longer there anymore. Okay, so any questions on this linear regression?
So I tried to like change them into percentages and it like didn't work for me. It still has like regular numbers.
Yeah, go ahead and share your screen for me, please.
Okay.
I think it's because you have to click access and not pane.
Yeah, that's most likely what's going on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so access, when you select the access header, that will tell Tableau to edit or format the access. When you select pane, that will format the tooltip.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, no worries. Any other questions? All right, let's proceed. All right, go ahead and create a new worksheet and go ahead and take a look at my screen. So what we have here is we've brought together into a dashboard to create a screening mechanism. So what we can see here based on our distribution of IPO activities, the month of May has seen more IPOs than any other. So when we select that with dynamic filtering turned on, we are now filtering by the 24 companies that went public in May. And here we get a snapshot of the industry performance of those companies that went public in May. Now, let's say we were interested in technology companies, for example. We're going to leave this May column selected, and then we're going to select technology. And it spits out that there were 4 technology companies that went public in the month of May. This enables us to screen our data. This is a very common practice used in many different industries. So retail and CPG and manufacturing right now. Any type of seasonal industry does things like this to make product assortment decisions going into the holidays. So what they're doing is they're filtering on top performing categories, looking at the top performing brands and making inventory decisions of what they should be stocking based on trends that they're emerging going into the holidays. When I was at Whole Foods working on the Amazon Whole Foods acquisition, this type of application is something we would build. That just because we're working with financial data here doesn't mean that this is only useful within the financial realm. Retail uses this extensively. The same thing within advertising. Right now, media planners are having conversations with advertisers trying to develop a holiday strategy going in. So what they're doing right now is they're testing different categories of creative. So is this creative performing? Is this creative driving the intended performance that we're looking for? Very similar to what we built in workshop 3 with that ad tech data set. So this is learning to think about data in this way as a screen to isolate, okay, 24 companies went public in May. What are our top performing companies that went public in May? We get them right here, Uber and Headhunter Group PLC. What you do with that information is dependent on what strategy you're taking. I wouldn't recommend creating trading strategies off of this. This is just a very basic elementary step into how to productize data and make it useful for people. Any questions?
How did you do the detail view on the bottom?
Yeah, we're going to build that right now.
Okay, cool.
Go ahead and create a new worksheet. And following our framework of highest level of aggregation, we're going to aggregate our dimensions based on industry, company, and ticker symbol. That's the order. If you look at this, it's a parent-child relationship. So the industry is the parent data hierarchy. Within each industry, we have many different companies. We're disaggregating now at the company level. And then each individual company has a unique ticker symbol. So that is our aggregation pathway. So to do that, we're going to go ahead and double click on industry, go ahead and double click on company, and then double click on symbol. Next, let's go ahead. Right now, what we're doing is we're building a hierarchical profile of each of our companies. So next, we're going to go ahead and double click on shares that were offered at the IPO. And then next, we're going to bring in offer price at the IPO. And Tableau is going to reorganize our columns. It's very easy to reorganize. Just drag it down here on the measure shelf here. So now we can organize it the way we want. And then let's go ahead and bring current price in, because that enables you to just compare like values. Where did they start versus where are they now? Okay, that's helpful. But what does that look like in percentage terms? As well, we're going to go ahead and bring in our first day close return or offer price return, whichever one you used. We're going to have to change our formatting to express that as a percentage. And then I'm going to go ahead and bring in the offer price return too, because some of you are using that one. And we're just going to change the formatting as well to express that as a percentage. Make sense? Any questions?
A really quick question. Whenever I drag like one of the things into the measure value, sometimes it defaults to like count or stuff like that. Is there a way to like change that? So
yeah, share your screen with me.
Yeah. So like I just like manually done these, and like this one is a count.
First day close. first day close. Right click, go onto your measure shelf and right click on that value on your measure shelf. Yeah. Go to convert, change data type. Let me see how you're treating that one. You're treating it as a decimal, convert to decimal. Go to default properties real quick. If you scroll down. It's there. It's right under geographic role.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let me see what you're doing here. Number format or aggregation. Let's take a look at aggregation. Count. Yeah, just go ahead and this is do median. Yeah. So now whenever you bring this in, it'll come in default median. Yeah, there you go. Cool. And then you're going to want to change your formatting now to percentage.
Right. Okay.
Yep. Right click format. Does that work for you?
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Good job. All right, cool. Okay. Any other questions? All right, so let's create a dashboard. We're going to do one more thing. Sorry. So I have this dashboard here and I have another one right here. One is cleaner. So correlation here isn't super valuable because when we select one of our months that only have like 4 companies that went public, it's a very low sample size. And it's also taking up valuable real estate here. So this is kind of creating some noise. So one thing I want to do is I want to collapse this linear regression into our tooltip for our monthly IPO activities by month. If you remember, we explored this in workshop 3, but we're going to do it together now. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that linear regression. And I'm going to go to our monthly IPO activity by month worksheet here. Anyone remember how to embed a visualization into a tooltip?
You drag it on the tooltip and like space down, right?
You're close. We'll go ahead and do it together. So what I want you to do is select the tooltip here and let's do a page break so that we're down in this section. And you're gonna go to the top right corner where it says insert, and we're going to insert sheets, and we're going to insert our linear regression sheet. Now go ahead, just hit OK. We're going to modify this. But now when we hover over the month of May, we're able to see how correlated those 24 companies are to one another. Looks slightly different from how the companies in June. That's interesting because correlations can change. What's happening in May is very different from what's happening in June here. It's not enough to warrant answering a question or making a strategic decision, but this helps you answer what additional data you need to be able to really explore whether or not there is a meaningful relationship between these two variables. So this is a little squished together. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the tooltip. And I'm going to change our pixel dimensions here. I'm just going to increase our width to 400, and then I'm going to increase our height to 400 as well. That should give us a little bit more breathing room. It's not too big, so it's not overwhelming. Any questions?
Sorry, I tried to put it in and like it didn't, nothing happened. I did it the same way that I can share my screen. I'm sorry.
Yeah, for sure. Let's do it.
Sorry, it's loud.
No, you're good.
Okay. Yeah, so I go on tooltip and then I inserted that.
Yep, looks
and
good.
And then when I click OK, like nothing happens.
Yeah, it's because you have to hover over the bar chart.
Oh, it just didn't change the color. All right.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
No worries. All right, cool. Everyone good? Y'all are sharp. Cool.
I have a question.
Yeah, shoot.
When you hover over like your numbers or the graph, I guess yours shows a line and mine does not.
That's because you probably don't have the trend line showing on your linear.
Oh, okay.
So if you just right click in the white space, go to trend line, show trend lines, that should get you there.
Okay. Cool.
Awesome. All right, so now we're ready to bring this together into a dashboard. What I want you to do, remember, change to dynamic sizing. When we're going to do that by selecting size, go to range and automatic. Now we have more space to work with. Go ahead and bring in, doesn't matter, distribution of returns or your monthly IPO activity. It doesn't matter which one's left or right, whichever one, they're both very aggregated, so it doesn't really matter. What I want you to do now, though, is select the chart on the left and go to the drop-down menu here and go to Fit Entire View. That way, we're expanding our visualization to take advantage of as much of the available real estate as possible. Now, do the same for your distribution of returns. Hit that drop-down, Fit Entire View. Okay, everyone good? Now, I'm going to go ahead and take our detail view, and I'm going to drop that in the lower hemisphere. And because this is highly granular data in a pivot table format, what I want to do is instead of fitting the entire view, I'm going to fit the entire width. I'm going to go ahead and show you what happens when we try and fit the entire view when we're working with very granular visualization. You get this monstrosity because we're telling Tableau to squeeze everything into a single view. So that's why we want to just fit the width here. Great. Everyone good? Cool. Go ahead and select your legend section. Let's go ahead and kill our legends because they're kind of redundant. Get rid of those. And then we're going to take our industry filter and we're going to drag that to the top sliver up here that you're seeing on my screen. When we do that, we get more width for our data visualizations. I'm going to resize this a little bit so we get a little bit more height and scale on our visualizations up top. Just eyeball it, doesn't have to be perfect. And now go ahead and turn dynamic filtering on for each of your visualizations. So now we're able to drill in to each subsequent cohort. So the July cohort of healthcare companies, it spits out this the return values here. This is an incredibly powerful way of thinking about data, regardless of the industry. We jump around industries with our data sets that we're using because the principles of how we treat our data remain the same, regardless of the industry. All right. Any questions? Everyone got that?
Oh, sorry. The first part, I know, like I can see that yours says entire view, but mine, whenever I try to drag my sheets, they were all wonky. So could you
go ahead and share your screen?
Do that. Let me see that.
Okay. First problem I'm seeing is you're not dynamically sizing.
Okay.
So go ahead and select size and then go to range, automatic. Whenever you create a dashboard, just default to doing that. Now go ahead and try and drag this in.
Did that.
Okay.
So then I want to do entire view, right?
Okay. So what you're doing there is you are changing the aspect ratio of your dashboard, not a particular visualization. That arrow that you're hovering by right now, that's what you want to use. Right there. Yeah, you got it. So this will fit the specific visualization versus the entire dashboard. So go ahead to fit entire view. Okay, go ahead and bring in your other visualization.
Oh, okay, I see.
There you go. That's good. Do the same thing with fitting it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait, yeah, I forgot those types of bar charts default to fitting the entire view. You're good. Go ahead and bring in your detail view now. to the bottom hemisphere. There you go. Great. Now click the white space and fit your width. Okay. And then I would get rid of your legends also. It looks like you're missing a quick filter.
That would be getting rid of this, right? How do
Yep,
I-
you got it. I just hit the X.
Oh, okay.
There you go. And actually, you have, as long as you turn dynamic filtering on, the industry drop-down filter is a little redundant. So if you turn dynamic filtering on here.
I do that by.
Yep, you got it. Hit the funnel.
I'll do that in a second. It's just that when I share my screen, like all of the options for stuff is there, so I can't really click it.
Gotcha. Yeah. So if you turn dynamic filtering on, you can select an industry from here and you won't actually need the drop down quick filter.
All right. Thanks.
Any other questions? All righty. So last thing that we're going to do is we're going to introduce a new organizational type for our visualizations. If you go down to the bottom right corner where it says new worksheet, we've used that pretty extensively. New dashboard, we use that in every class so far. The last one is a new story. Go ahead and select that. Tableau introduced this feature 2017, 2016, I think. The goal here was to replace PowerPoint. It really hasn't done a great job of replacing PowerPoint, but it enables you to create a structure that guides your viewer to understand the narrative you're trying to tell with your analysis. So what we can do here is let's go ahead first and change our sizing down in the bottom left to an automatic range. And I'm going to go ahead and call this IPO sector performance. And I'm just going to bring in a single visualization here for our distribution of returns by industry. And then we're going to go up to the new story point and select blank. And what I want to do here is I'm going to go ahead and bring in our dashboard. So bring your dashboard in and just call this something simple. Just dashboard is fine. And then let's create a new story point. And let's go ahead and bring in our linear regression to take a look at the relationship between IPO profiles and their performance. I'm going to call this linear regression. You can add as many story points as you want and throw different visualizations in here. So like if I wanted to go ahead and bring in this visual where we're looking at IPO activity by month, we can add that also. IPOs by month. And here we're able to create kind of like a PowerPoint presentation where we can start with our constituent building blocks of our dashboard and showcase at a high level, okay, here's how different sectors have been performing in the initial public offerings space. Here's how we can build profiles off of companies that have gone public. And if we want to drill into just look at the correlation between testing this hypothesis of a relationship between offered shares and the return, we have that here. And then we can also take a look at the IPO activity by month. You can also rearrange your slides or your visualizations by just dragging them around. And you can keep your dashboard as kind of like the final presentation layer. So this isn't, you don't see this used too often in the field, but this is useful to a lot of students. The reason why this hasn't really been adopted is our visualizations here, we don't have a ton of ability to scale the visual. You see all this wasted white space here. and then all this wasted white space here. We're not able to fit the entire view here. So you don't really see this used too often in the industry, but this is just another option that you have to present your data. This type of view is useful if you're just doing one-time ad hoc analyses that you're presenting to a leadership team or whatnot. Usually the dashboard, that's typically what you're going to see as like the final deliverable. All right. Any questions around that?
My dashboard, like my whole Tableau just closed out and deleted everything, I think.
Yeah, Tableau likes to do that. So you got two options: either rebuild it for fun and practice, or just shoot me a message after class and I'll link you to a file.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. Any other questions?
Yeah, how did you get like multiple like boxes at the top?
If you go up here to story point where it says blank.
Oh, I see, I see. You just click another one? Okay, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
you got it. And if you want to reorganize them, you just click on each tile and just drag them wherever you want them to go.
Okay. And they should all be like automatic once you do it for the first one, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the formatting on these stories, it's not perfect, but it works at a pinch.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. All right, so we're done with this. So go ahead and go to Save to Tableau Public As, and go ahead and title this MKT 178 Workshop for IPO Data. We're almost done. We're done with the actual data visualization part. I just got to do some housekeeping.
I'm not able to save it. It says an error occurred while attempting to save the workbook.
Yeah, you probably have a live connection set up. Go ahead and share your screen with me.
So I'm using it on my computer and Zoom is on my iPad. So I think I can turn it on.
All right, no worries. What you're going to want to do then, or follow along with me. Let's see, go to data source in the bottom left-hand corner.
Mm-hmm.
And let me see if I can remember how to do this. If you go to data, export data to CSV when extract. Every release that Tableau does, they change where this option is, and it's annoying as hell. You see everything here that I have?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna have to hang out after class and we'll troubleshoot it together. Basically what you need to do is you need to create an extract. That's all it is.
Okay.
What should we call the thing again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. MKT 178 Workshop for IPO Data.
Thank you.
Do we publish the dashboard or the story?
Good question. Whichever you prefer. If you like the story better, go ahead and publish that. If you like the dashboard better, personally, just to change it up, I would publish the story just so that you have another cut of showing that different functions you know in Tableau on your portfolio. But it personally, it doesn't matter.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
Yeah, Carl, when I saved it, it shrunk the top right box to be like really small. It
Did you publish your story?
I just published, I think I did my dashboard.
Gotcha. Could you share your screen? Let me take a look. That might be fixable.
Did I close it? Oops, I might have closed it. Wait, one sec.
Everyone, including me, is terrified to share their screen.
I closed it. I'm gonna resave it and maybe see if I screwed something up in
problem. Yeah, what I would do is I would check your sizing, make sure you're set to automatic sizing. Cool. Any other questions? All right. Well, let's talk about the capstone next week. So I keep bumping into people who test positive for COVID-19. So I am staying remote for now. I don't have any symptoms or anything, but just largely just to keep y'all safe. I'm going to be getting tested probably on Thursday, and it's an immediate test. So I'll make the call whether or not we have class in person or we do it remote. Next week is the capstone session, so do not don't worry. Like, I'm flexible here. As far as grading goes, I will be sending out. I believe I sent out a Google survey already, and that is what we're going to be using to submit your Tableau portfolios. I just need the URL, and that's what I'm going to pop open to take a look at and see the work you've done in Tableau Public. As far as the capstone goes, here's how it works. If we end up meeting in class next Monday, which hopefully we will, I'm going to be available for questions, but I'm not answering most questions, quite frankly. 5 weeks into this course, y'all should probably have a really good grasp of how to navigate Tableau and answer your own questions. Things like embedding a visualization into a tooltip, I will help answer that because that's relatively new. But questions like, what type of function should I be using? Or how do I do a quick filter? Those are things we've drilled every class and things that you guys should have been working on your own. So those types of questions, use Google. You are free to work together on the capstone. So if you've got a friend in class or a group of friends, you guys are more than welcome to work with one another. I encourage it, actually. The real world is an open book test, and I model my class in the real world. You can talk with one another. You can ask one another how to do things. Is there a group me for this class? I don't know what group me is, quite frankly. So probably not. And you can use Google. I would actually encourage you to use Google, because every question you have on how to do something in Tableau, there's documentation for it already that exists. We haven't covered anything advanced in this class. Every question you have on how to do something, you can find out by doing Google, or by just Googling it. You'll have class to either in person or on Zoom to ask me questions within reason. I will not start grading anything until, I believe I gave you till October 3rd. I'm not going to grade things piecemeal. I grade everything all at once. So you basically get a week to finish your Tableau Public portfolio. You can make modifications to anything you want to do in Tableau Public, and I won't pop it open and start grading until the deadline. The deadline's listed in Canvas. I just don't. I'm teaching 3 sections of this class. I forget which one. I don't want to misspeak. Let's see. Yeah, you guys are doing great. I am not concerned about you. As far as the data set goes, maybe a few of you were adventurous and found out that the data set has actually already been in the Dropbox folder this entire semester. So if you look into Workshop 5 or the Capstone data set folder on Dropbox, the data set's been in there this entire semester. So if you want to just poke around and take a look at it, you're more than welcome to. It's for context, it is a Salesforce export. The goal here is for you to just basically evaluate what would a leader of a sales org care about when evaluating a sales organization. So you have a high level of aggregation. Who are my top performing reps? Where are my top performing regions? What activities are they doing? How many emails per day are they sending? How many calls are they making a day? Things of that nature. So what you want to do is just apply our framework to that data set. And you can do quite a lot with this data set. There's a lot of different ways you can cut that data up. So have fun and apply that framework. Don't let yourself go haywire by trying to build everything. Stick to answering a very specific, cohesive narrative. As far as grading goes, I will be looking at your Tableau Public portfolio. I'll be just checking for obvious things. Do not be using that wireframe for your quick filters. Are you applying dynamic filtering to your dashboards? Are you following a structured approach to problem solving? and are starting at the highest level of aggregation, working your way to granular? Am I able to follow your analysis? Am I seeing just random visualizations that you just built and threw up because you thought they look cool? Those are the types of things I'm looking for. Don't stress yourself out. This is a 1-credit course. I'm not the hardest grader in the world, but I will drop letter grades very quickly because you did something that was very simple that you could have done by just paying attention. I have only had 3 people fail this class in 4 years, so don't worry. And let's see, I'll be available for questions after class tonight. So if you have questions about the class, questions about grading, Tableau, happy to hang out and answer your questions. If you have questions about career stuff, feel free to hang out after class or shoot me an email, and I'm more than happy to set up time with you outside. But thank you. You guys have done fantastic. Usually it's actually kind of a trend. The undergrad cohort of this class tends to outperform the graduate students. And I'm happy to say that you guys are continuing in that pattern. But hope this has been useful. And yeah, I'll see y'all around. I'll hang out if anyone has questions.
It's still not letting me save the dashboard to Tableau Public.
Okay.
It says I need to extract the data. I think I missed when you did that earlier.
No, that's just a toggle that sometimes inadvertently gets switched on accident. Are you able to share your screen yet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Oh, that's freaky. I just saw 2 of you one person was in a Brady Bunch square, and then I saw them right behind another person. That was freaky. All right, show me what you're looking at.
Okay. So I'm trying to save it, and it's
yeah. So you are in, and this is what we were dealing with earlier. Go ahead and hit OK. Go to data source in the bottom left. This is the one that Tableau changes how you do it every fucking time they release an update. It's infuriating for this class. Let me poke around in my.
Because I tried to go like here or edit connection, but there was nothing there.
Yeah, that's actually how you used to be able to do it like 6 months ago. Let's see. I'm trying to find it real quick and Google. Let's see, the Tableau Public has workbench locale. So you need to convert to an extract. I really just wish they would make it so it defaulted to an extract for Tableau Public, because high odds you're not going to be doing a live connection. Let me I'm going to Google something real quick. There we go. First Google result, issue, data extract required, resolution. All right, go to that error message that's populating when you try to save. Okay, so you are getting learn more. Can you select data extract required?
No.
Okay, hit learn more for me. Okay, let me see. Are you, I can't see this on your screen. See where it says your name, Caroline? You see where it says Caroline at the bottom? Bottom right-hand corner. Caroline Kaiser at the bottom right. It's right underneath your.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah. Select that triangle for me. It seems that this might be where they. Select that. Just go ahead and sign out of Tableau Public.
Is it going to erase everything?
No, it shouldn't. That's just going to sign you out of Tableau Public. And then go to the top menu and go to Help, Settings, and Performance. Help.
Oh, this.
Yeah, and then Settings and Performance. Clear saved server sign-ins. You're just refreshing your cache, basically. All right,
Okay.
cool. So you've got that, and then go to save to Tableau public as and try that. Once you log in, should clear your cache.
Okay, well, I normally have my password like auto-populate, so I might have to go find out what it is.
Yeah, go for it. Let me know if this is solves it for you.
Okay, I'll stop my share and I'll try to do that really quick and I'll let you know if it works.
Awesome. Cool.
I was gonna ask for the dynamic filtering. It's just clicking like the little funnel, right?
Yeah,
on
that
all of
little
them?
funnel. Yeah, make sure the way you know it's activated is if you click on something, it filters, and also that funnel will be filled in white.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm having the same problem as her. Whenever you told her to press help, what else did she have to press?
Help, settings, and performance.
Okay, and then what else?
Clear sign in, clear save server sign-ins.
Okay.
And then try to go to save to Tableau public as and just use a slightly different name like MKT 178 IPO analysis or whatever.
It didn't work.
Sure. That's not fun. Let's see. Let me try and find another way. Save subsets, support large data sets. Caroline, any luck?
Oh, no, it didn't work.
All right. Yes, Tableau can't convert live connections. So share your screen with me one more time. If you go to server, let me find it on my machine first. Save the Tableau public, manage profile.
It worked for me.
The steps that we went through where we were
Yeah.
clearing the server. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Try doing it. Yeah, that was one of the notes inside the documentation. You may have to sign in and sign out multiple times to get it to register. This is a problem with the tool, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah, try just logging in and logging out a couple times the same way we did before, where
Okay.
you enter your name, sign out, clear your cache, and then you should be good.
And you said we can keep working on stuff until like, okay, because of this, I couldn't save my last one for
Gotcha.
last week.
Oh yeah, that's what you texted me about earlier.
That wasn't me. I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Someone was texting me.
That
Oh,
was me.
you? Oh, okay, got you. No worries.
So for
Speaking of which, I gave you a shout out for that. That was a power move right there. I got that text message in a meeting with one of our engineering SVPs, and I was like, I mean, this student's going places.
I'm so sorry.
No, that was good. That was good. I mean, if I didn't want students to text me or call me if they had questions, I wouldn't give my number out. It's just you are actually the first person that's ever done that in like probably 5 years.
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry.
No, don't apologize. Don't apologize.
Okay, for me, it was like, oh, like if I send an email, he's probably not going to see it like 10 minutes before class. So my safest option is a text.
Nope. That's why I put my cell phone number on there. It's for you guys to do. It's just no one ever takes me up on it.
Okay. Well, my problem just with it's weird because so I updated Tableau and when I like re-signed in, now it says that I don't have like the previous visualizations, like the other dashboards from the other workshops.
Okay.
But
Could you share your portfolio with me?
Yeah. So let me.
Wait, so that's funny because I have the same problem. I had to do the same thing, which is why I'm still on this call. And I actually found my other, like I have visualization 1 and 2, but they're in a different account. So I was gonna ask you, would you like me to like try and remake those into the same account, like try and bring them all together, or would it be possible to share like 2 different URLs? when it comes to grading?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
Just link me to whichever one you want me to grade. Alternatively, what you can do too is you can download a local copy from Tableau Public and then just save it to your other account. I don't know why you have multiple accounts.
Okay, that seems, because I was about to say, like, if I look up my name on public, like my other workshops come out, but when I put it on my like profile, it doesn't come out. But I think it's the update. I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds like you inadvertently created multiple accounts. Yeah, if you find your profile on Tableau Public, under each, you have a menu of saved dashboards on there. If you hover, there's a download button. Just download them and reopen them, and you can save them to your other profile.
Oh, okay, cool. Then I guess I'll do that. Sorry for
no worries.
While you're in a meeting. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries. Sorry, my laptop charger just ripped out of the wall.
I got it to work. I just had one more question though. There's like a little checkbox and it says, keep my data in sync with the data source and embed my credentials.
Yeah, so that's up to you. So if you want your dashboard to update as the Google Finance data updates, enable that. If you don't want Tableau Public to have a connection to your Google account, they all live on the same place. Tableau is an AWS client. It lives in the cloud. If you just want a static snapshot, then don't enable it. But it is kind of cool because looking at what I built for the first time I rolled this data set out with students, the performance of these IPOs have changed drastically from 3-4 years ago.
Okay, cool. Might as well. Okay, thank you so much for your help.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to.
Hey, Professor. Can you look into my IPOs per month worksheets? I created 2 because I have one of my own and then basically copied the other one from class today and see which one is better.
Yeah, go ahead, share your screen.
Can you see it?
Not yet. Yeah, now I can.
Okay,
so this first off here, you're using continuous data.
Okay.
You're going to want to change your month pillbox to discrete.
Oh, this one says discrete.
Yeah, but you're using the continuous month, so it's overriding it.
Okay, so this one, the first one.
Yeah, that's discrete time. Yeah.
Okay, because this is the first one. This is the one I made by myself when we had the 30 minutes. So should I delete this one and just stick to this one?
Yeah, that's a little noisy.
This one?
Yeah. Because if you think about it, you've got 104 companies across your columns.
Okay. And so I try to fix up my dashboard. The dashboard has the new one as well as my story.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so this doesn't save like Google Sheets where it's like every second. So should I?
It's up to you. If you want to leave it connected to Google Sheets, you can. If you don't, using a flat file is fine.
Okay, so should I save the Tableau Public as again and just try to rename it a little bit differently?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else?
I'm gonna do that right quick and see if any problems arise, and I'll tell you.
Cool. Sounds good. All right. I need to figure out what's wrong with my charger. 1 second. Oh, who's next?
Hey, how's it going?
What's going on, man?
I'm not sure if you saw, but I just sent you some emails during class. This is actually the first class that I've been to. I thought class started on October 4th. I missed the first class because of COVID, and then the following week was Labor Day, and then September 13th was canceled. And yeah, I would just go on Canvas and see if there was a syllabus or anything. And I would also email a professor that I thought was the professor of this class, and they would respond to me and tell me, or there was just like a confusion where
Which
basically-
what are you an undergrad?
yeah, I'm an undergrad.
Okay, because I have an MBA cohort that starts on October 3rd. All right, well, that is tricky.
Yeah, there's also some stuff in the emails that but just I need this class to graduate, so
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna, you're not gonna not graduate for that. You might have to sprint a little bit this week.
yeah,
but
that's what
for
I'm
the
kind of
next 2
asking
weeks.
for.
Yeah, dude, don't worry about it. I see your email. I'll respond to you.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Yes, please let me know. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man.
You could easily just not screw me over, but there's just been a bunch of confusion. I'm so sorry, but thank you.
Don't worry about it, man.
Let me know.
Yeah, UT, the class that was actually, no, that was my graduate students. For Labor Day, the registrar actually scheduled my 2 sections at the same time for like makeup on Labor Day. So I had to cancel my graduate section and give them a recording to follow so I could teach this class in person. Yeah, don't worry about it, man. I've got some materials that I'll send your way. Just you'll need to just basically buckle down for like 6 hours, 8 hours or so, and you'll be fine though.
Perfect. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah.
God bless you.
No worries, man.
I'll be looking for the email. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll respond to you tonight. What's going on, Nick? Anything else you need?
Look like it saved like gracefully. So I'm gonna share my screen again to show you my viz. Let's see. Should be this one. Yeah. So this is the one like from previous. So I should just delete this one, right? Just delete this viz.
Yeah, you can.
You won't get any confusion.
Yeah, that I am confusion prone.
So okay, so yeah, because this one's
yeah, that's good. That is good, dude.
So yeah.
Cool. Yeah, this looks great.
All right. Thank you. You have a nice night, Professor.
You do the same, bud. See ya.
Take care.